Good evening, everyone. It's me again, Crystal Bullard, and I will be your facilitator for tonight. I just want to welcome you all to the finale of our Live Well, Heal Well, Rest Well series. And I want to start with a quote, and it says, "Movement is a medicine for creating change in a person's physical, emotional, and mental states." So, tonight, that's what our conversation is going to center around. Our topic is mind in motion, unlocking the power of movement for physical and mental health. And so, here to join me tonight in this conversation is another one of my favorites, my sister friend, Andrea Sutton. Hello.
Hello.
All right, so before we get into our conversation, I just want to kind of set the stage and give some context to how we even got to this conversation. And so, um, you know, to all of you who are watching, we got here from lunch, a lunch date. Oftentimes, when we get together and break bread and fellowship, um, our passions find their way of making space in our conversations, and so this is kind of how we got here. And I don't remember exactly what you said, Andrea, but whatever it was, it made me connect with a book that I read before. And I remember asking you, have you ever read The Body Keeps the
hmm
Score? And so, for all of you that don't know, The Body Keeps the Score is a book by Bessel van der Kolk, and he is an expert in the trauma field, trauma and stress field. And so, basically, the message of this book is connecting the dots between the impact of trauma and stress. And the reality is that our bodies remember trauma even when our brains, our minds try to forget. And so if we're going through something, or we've been through something that was scary or painful or overwhelming, like abuse or violence or even loss, like, it doesn't just affect our thoughts and emotions, but it gets stored in our nervous system, in our bodies, in our muscles, and our stress response. And so even years later, our bodies can still react as if danger is still happening. Now, with that, I want to talk a little bit about healing. What we know is that healing can come in a myriad of ways, but one of those ways can involve body based approaches, which is one of the ways that open the door of healing for you, Andrea. So, what I want to start is with you just sharing your story. And I want you to do that because there are people out there who may have been where you were, who may find themselves there today. And I want them to hear, so often we can think it's just us, we're the only ones, no one understands. And I want people to hear that they're not alone, that there are other people who've been where they are, and that, hopefully this conversation tonight will inspire hope again, right? And to show them that there's a way through. So share
Yeah.
with us your story.
Okay. Well, thank you for having me, Crystal. It is always a good time to just like chat it up with you. So I got into movement. One because growing up I played sports, basketball and all those things, and so I always like loved the body and loved sports. So that led me to want to be a physical therapist. And one, I wanted to be a physical therapist because of movement, sports, but also you don't really see a lot of Black folks being physical therapists at that time, and I just wanted to help folks kind of come back to them to their bodies like after injuries in sports or whatever. Well, that was my goal. Bushy eyed, girl going to grad school for physical therapy, working hard, passing all the tests in school. But the test I needed to pass was my physical therapy board exams, and I did not. And not once, not twice, but a myriad of times, I just did not pass them. So, of course, with that, you just kind of feel like a failure. It's like, what is life? What am I supposed to do? I had this plan, I had this goal, and I didn't reach it. So it's just a sense of failure, but also just being a failure, which is kind of how I kind of labeled myself. And because of that, I was depressed. It was like, woe is me. I put all my time into like this one goal, and I didn't succeed. I didn't get the prize or what have you. So because of that, it's like I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to turn, and I was so just tunnel vision and feeling like a failure that I couldn't even like ask for help or see other ways out, or see other ways to like pivot or turn or other avenues. It was like, well, this was the one thing and that was it. So because of that, I'm from Raleigh. I went to grad school in DC, and so I was back home in Raleigh doing some work with my family, and decided to up and move to Philadelphia. And so thinking a change could do me good, still depressed, but maybe if I get away, the problem would go away. That doesn't work,
Right,
but
right,
that's what I
right.
thought. So I went to Philadelphia, worked some odd jobs, still feeling down and out, still calling myself a failure. Got into therapy, and then like just kind of rediscovered movement. When I was in DC, I started working with a trainer, and she was thick and fit. Her name was Darlene, and she would just really encourage people to work in their bodies. So I remember how much I loved movement then. And so in Philadelphia, I started working out, going to the gym, and I liked the gym and moving my body because it was the one place where I could set a goal and accomplish it. So it kind of helped me to just feel like, oh, I may not be a failure, at least here in the gym. I can accomplish this goal, see it through, and I kind of feel a little bit better about myself. So, yeah, that's kind of like how I came back to movement. Just going to the gym, realizing that even in this small moment, I am not a failure. I can use this movement to feel a little bit better about myself, see myself in a different light, and kind of go from there. Do you want me to continue?
Well, I'll ask you a question here. So, you found movement again. Um, at what point or what was it that helped you to recognize that movement was helping your mental health?
Hmm, good question. So on the days that I didn't move, I kind of like felt a little bit worse. Like, if I didn't go to the gym or I didn't walk, I didn't feel like a little aha. So like, I don't know about y'all, but when I go for a walk or when I lift something heavy, I kind of get like a yes, I did that, right? And so I needed that way more than I did need it. So when I didn't go to the gym or didn't go for a walk, I just felt more down in the dumps. I felt like, man, what is life?
Right.
Yeah, so it was just kind of realizing that when I didn't move my body, I didn't feel that sense of like, aha. It was even like just kind of being able to like recognize the world, not even like being out of that tunnel vision, like, oh, um, this day I went for a 30-minute walk. Maybe I go for a 45-minute walk. Oh, look at me. Go ahead, girl. So like, with the movement, I could begin to like hype myself up a little bit
Okay.
more, see some things that I could accomplish. So, yeah.
So it sounds like there was a level of awareness or body connection that was present for you to be able to notice that change. Like, speak to us about the importance of that and maybe even how we get to that place.
hmm Yeah. So, you know, a lot of times to dampen the signals that our body gives us. So, like, we think about babies, right? So like when we are born into the world, we know a baby knows how to cry for what one when they're hungry or when something isn't feeling right in their body. You know, they may not can express that yet, but they can cry to signal like, hey, something isn't right. And so, you know, sometimes we still get those, so we come into the world knowing ourselves, we are at home with ourselves, right? And over time we begin to kind of silence those signals. You know, we may because of work we recognize that we're hungry, but oh, I need to get this project done, so I'm not going to eat because I need to get these things done. So we begin to kind of like silence or turn down those signals. So for me, in regards to movement, it kind of helped me begin to kind of turn on that frequency of like, oh, what does my body need? So sometimes I go to the gym and I'm like really in the dumps, right? So I may need to feel a little bit of a pick me up. So I may slam some balls, right? Or if I'm like, whoo, just all in the clouds or whatever, so I may need something that kind of grounds me. So I may lift a little bit heavier weight so that I can kind of come back to my center. So movement kind of has helped me to kind of like feel myself a little bit more. Even when you lift heavy, you feel your muscles. You can recognize like, oh, these are my legs and they help me to pick something up heavy, or these are my arms that I can use to press a heavy weight, but I can also use to lift up my child, lift up my nieces and nephews because I don't have children. But you know, so things like that, you begin to kind of connect like the weight to what your body can actually do. And yeah, that's what kind of spurred the coming back home to your body. It's kind of being in the gym and moving some weights.
Okay. So we know that trauma not only imprints our mind, but our brains and our body. So it makes sense that healing would require working with all three. And so this conversation tonight is doing that, but with a primary focus on body movement. And so, depending on where any of us are in our lives, what our experiences have been, where we're stuck at currently, just the overall state of our mental health, that depends on like what will be most helpful for us. Um,
Mm-hmm.
with this, I know it's not a cookie cutter approach. And so it makes me think about a specific client that I've had who experienced some significant past trauma, and when it happened in her adult life, once it was over, she just kind of like ran to the gym and went hard.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she was in a place of feeling, of not feeling really, not connecting with emotion, but also feeling weak because of the things
Mm-hmm.
that had happened to her. And so, for her, that was the thing. And you just talked about, getting in the gym, going hard, lifting weights or whatnot. But that's not the way for everybody. I don't like exercise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's some stuff I just don't want to do. And I'm working on that, which
Yeah.
and I'm
Yeah.
getting to a better place with that. But I
Mm-hmm.
want I want to generalize this, but I also want to connect it to people who are, struggling with their mental health, and maybe who actually like movement and can now incorporate this, or maybe never considered that this was an option. And maybe, I done tried all the other things. What else could it hurt for me to try body movement? I want you to um, give us some application steps, like some exercises, some movements that we can use. Whether, I'm the one who I don't have a lot of time, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My day is structured and I have to get to it, right? But still,
Yeah.
movement is important because why? It helps our mental health, right?
Yeah.
And our physical health. Or if I'm a single mother who has a lot of kids, and
Mm-hmm.
their
Mm-hmm.
priority, I gotta pour into them. I don't really have time for the other stuff. Or if I'm a senior citizen, right? If I have
Mm-hmm.
physical limitations,
Yeah.
whatever the scenario may be. I just don't like exercise, but I realize it's important. So give me a little
Mm-hmm.
something I
Mm-hmm.
can do. Okay. I want you
Yeah.
to share some things for all people.
Hmm. Okay. So What I would say is that one, society tells us to like go, 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 and it's always like all or nothing, right? And so a lot of people may think, well, I don't have time to go to the gym, so I'm not going to do it at all, right? And that's totally understandable. But what I like to um, remind people of is that, like, one, we're with our bodies. Like, our bodies is the house for our spirit, for our soul. So we're going to be with it like forever. But we want to take time for ourselves, and it doesn't have to be a lot of time. Like, think about you how long it takes you to like brush your teeth or wash your face. You kind of want to make movement like a daily habit, something that you can just incorporate a little bit at a time. It doesn't have to be 45 minutes to an hour. If you don't have that time to give, it can be 5-minute movement snacks. It could be something that you tie to like brushing your teeth. So maybe you brush your teeth and then you do some squats, or maybe if you are a single mom and you have little ones, maybe you do some squats or some sit in a chair, stand up with your kid, run around in a circle with your kids. You can find ways to tie your movement into your daily life. If especially is something that you don't like to do, find the thing. So maybe you like to binge watch. We all have those commercials nowadays. So maybe you find a little movement that you can tolerate that you do in between those like commercials. For like older adults who is like, I've lived my life and I'm ready to relax
Sit
and to
down.
retire. They want to sit down. You can still find a walk. Maybe you walk with your buddies and y'all talk about the things going on in the neighborhood or something like that. So tying movement to like some things that you are already doing. So like if you are cooking, maybe you can do some side steps or some lunges at the stove while you're cooking, or while you're washing dishes, or finding a friend to tag along with you so that y'all can do it together. Y'all can complain together, like, "Child, I don't want to do this, but come on, we wanna be able to annoy each other for the rest of our life. So let's get stronger together." So like, finding like making it a daily habit, like making it a part. You don't really ever think like, I'm not gonna brush my teeth today. Like that's something that the importance that it is to like brush your teeth or daily hygiene. You can really kind of change the way you frame it and
Yeah.
see movement as a part of like your daily hygiene. If it's just to help to ward off depression, I need this to kind of like help me feel a little bit better. Or if it's like I want to stay stronger so that I can play with my children or play with my grandchildren, then you want to be able to really kind of change our mindsets and make it like more of something like a daily habit. Yeah.
Yeah. And speaking to the mind thing, right, it definitely does require a mindset shift,
Yeah.
um,
Yeah.
for sure. Because even for me, it that's kind of how it came about.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was my body was hurting in certain ways, my numbers were looking in certain ways, and my doctor
Mhm,
is
mhm.
like, I need you to work on this so we can come down because I don't want to diagnose you with something, right?
Yeah,
And if I
yeah.
diagnose you with something, and even if it changes, you're still going
Mhm.
to be seen in that realm. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was like, heard, got you.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
I started
Yeah.
doing little things. So it really is kind of like a mind over matter thing. And the thing about, you talked about depression, you know, if we are in what I'll say a state of depression, you don't feel like it, right?
Mhm. Yeah, yeah.
Your energy is low, you're tired, you just want
Mhm.
to lay or you just want to, be.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
so it makes it harder to want to get up, to have that motivation to get
yeah.
up and do something. So it really does come down to your mind, your thoughts and
Mhm.
what you're thinking about, right? And
Mhm,
reminding
mhm.
yourself, even, girl, you don't feel like it. I know you don't feel like it.
Yeah.
And you still need to get up because
Mhm.
once
Right.
you move, once you go out into the sun, right, it's going to
Mhm.
shift something for you.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
it is really big when it comes to
Mhm.
you. Um, you made me think about my godmom actually, who loves water
Mhm,
aerobics and Zumba and
mhm, mhm,
my sisters too. So like how does that tie into what we're talking about? Would you say like that is a good exercise to participate in? Does it fit
mhm,
in this at all or no?
mhm, mhm. Yeah, movement is good in whatever way can get you going and whatever can get you to come back. Um, Yeah, so Zumba, Aqua Zumba, all the Zumbas, like people love them and they continue to go to them because it makes them feel good. You know, they can hang out with their friends, they can little dance. So yeah, movement. If especially if you are like, I don't like to move, but I like to dance. Yeah, Zumba is great. Or you're like, I'd rather be in the water, finding water aerobics. I also do encourage people to. Um, Try some strength training because one, we need our muscles as we are getting older. We need our bones not to be brittle as we get older. And research has shown that strength training really does help us as we age. You want to think about as you are aging, you want to kind of feel like how you're feeling now or be able to do the things you're doing now for 20, 30, 40 years, right? You don't want to have your muscles wasting away or your bones are brittle so you're afraid to fall. You want to be able to be prepared for what life has for you. So I do always encourage strength training as well as doing like the Zumba, your water aerobics. They both kind of go hand in hand. Um, and for strength training, you can do that too. The kind of research has shown that like 2 days a week for at least 45 minutes is really good. And I know everyone loves to reach for those 2 pound weights, but we are all strong
I feel
individuals.
attacked.
We are all strong people, and you can go for 8, 10 pounds. I'm just generalizing here, but the 2 pound weights we need to set those aside and really go for something a little heavier, and that may feel a little bit fearful, but I'm sure you have all did one grocery trip. You brought all those bags in from the
No,
car.
I'm
So that
tripped.
shows how strong you are. If you are a parent, you're picking up your children. They ain't light. So that shows how strong you are. And even if you are just living in this world, you are a resilient being, so you can do and lift heavy things. So maybe try a little bit heavier weight. And if you need someone to help you, I can help you as well. But it's a process, but you can do it. Yeah.
Okay. So we were talking about thoughts, right? I read
Mhm.
something actually that you wrote not
That
long ago, and you said something about um, in the moments where your self doubt and your negative self talk was louder than your confidence, you recognize that affirmations, right, help. And affirmations is positive self talk. I mean, simply put.
Mhm.
So I
Mhm.
want you to talk about that a little bit and how it
Mhm.
really can be helpful for us in
Yeah.
shifting our mindset.
Yeah. Um, I am not a therapist like you are, Crystal. So when I was introduced, well, let me start here. So when I worked with this lady, Thick and Fit, and she used to have us do affirmations as we work out. So it'd be like, "We are the best. We look the best. We feel the best." Now, anybody, if you do that while you're lifting weight, you will feel the best. You will be like, I do look the best. It kind of like it kind of is just like a little chant that you can kind of do for yourself. Now, outside of that, I thought affirmations were kind of woo woo,
A lot of people do. A lot of people
that
do.
that ain't for me. But
Yeah.
they really do work. Like it is you hyping yourself up, you being your own cheerleader, but it also helps to kind of one bring you back to your body,
Yeah.
two remind you who you are, and three, it kind of you kind of I think of things like a bank, right? So like the negative self talk, I don't know. It's like it's already deposited in you, right? And so you have to kind of add in like those affirmations or those positive sayings to kind of lessen the bad thoughts or the negative thoughts and increase the positive self talk. So when I am lifting, it's like I can lift hard things, or I am resilient. I am the best. I look the best. That's a really good one, especially if you're lifting. And then over time, it kind of is like you'd be not in the gym for me. You just kind of be maybe in a meeting. It's like, I am the best. It kind of just kind of
Yeah.
comes up automatically somehow.
Yeah.
And, it's like, wow, so it's about just depositing more of the positive so that when those negative thoughts come, you can kind of check. You're like, this ain't true. Or
Right.
actually, I am the best. You can kind of have some rebuttals for yourself that kind of offset those negative self talk. So it's just like this is a church live, so it's just
Yeah.
like scriptures, so like they tell
Exactly.
you to memorize those scriptures so that in times where you need them, they kind of pop up. So it's like
Right.
affirmations and scriptures is something that you deposit it into, so when you need them, they can kind of like show up. Yeah.
Absolutely. And that's exactly where my mind went. Always
Mhm.
it went straight to scripture. And I'm sure other people watching are probably thinking about that too. But it is. Andrea just said, when that negative thought comes up and you're like, wait, that ain't true. Right. That
Mhm.
is take every thought captive, right? And
Mhm.
that tries
Mhm.
to exalt itself. So that's the opportunity to do that. And
Mhm.
that really is the benefit of
Yeah.
affirming what is true in you. Um, you said something a little while ago about movement snacks, and I remember when we were in lunch and you said movement snacks. Now, in this conversation, we were also talking about my disdain for exercise.
Yeah.
But you said that when you said it, I was like, oh, snap, movement snacks. I can do that. Because me thinking snacks to eat. And you were
Mhm.
like, Crystal, no, not snacks like that. So I want you to give a little bit more context to what
Yeah.
a movement snack really is.
I mean, you can see it as a way to feed your body.
Yeah,
So it is a movement snack, but movement snacks are just small little movements that you can do, maybe 2 minutes, 5 minutes, that you can do throughout your day. So that may be like 5 squats or 5 arm circles, or maybe even like neck rolls or something that you can do, especially like if you say you work at home and you sit at a desk or anywhere where you sit at a desk. So finding, maybe every quarter till the hour, you may do a little movement snack. So that may be a little something every hour that you can do, or every at lunchtime, breakfast, lunch, and dinner that you can do that is getting some movement in, but also doesn't take up a lot of time. So, yeah, that's a good way to kind of ease and also create some habits and some daily hygienes that you can kind of fall back on. And it's also great if like you've come up with like a stressful like meeting, or a stressful time, and you just need to kind of come back. Movement snacks with some affirmations or a prayer can really help to bring you back to yourself as
that's good.
well.
And helpful for me too, because I'm in that sedentary type of environment because I'm
Hmm.
sitting
Hmm.
all the time. So nine
Yeah.
times out of ten, I'm sitting at a desk and I can
Hmm.
recognize that I'm tense or I'm tight and it doesn't.
Hmm.
And I've actually started like within the last week or so, like making myself get up,
Yeah. Yeah.
leave the building. And
Hmm.
so these movement snacks, that's something that I can definitely, and for all of you who work at
Yeah.
home or are
And
sitting.
to that point, that's good. If we're tying it back into like listening to our body. So our body would tell us when it needs to move or it needs to stretch or it's feeling tight. Like we can have that be a way to practice like listening to our body, listening to ourselves and coming back to that and giving us what we need. So
Yep. And a lot of y'all I know got them Apple Watches, and I think they tell y'all when to stand or when to move or something.
yeah,
So
they can.
no excuses for a lot of people. So
Hmm.
when that alert comes up, you guys know, do the movement
Hmm.
steps. And that don't mean eat no beef jerky. That means roll your neck, stretch your
Unless
arms.
you are hungry.
Well, I could do both.
Yes, you can.
Do a neck roll and take a bite. Um, okay, something else that you said um, was about consistency. And so I want you to talk a little bit about it. I was one of those people who discounted the benefit of movement, because in my mind I was like, man, 15 minutes, that's not going to do nothing.
Hmm.
That little exercise, that's not going to do anything, which
Hmm.
kept me in the cycle of not doing nothing. It
Yeah.
reinforced that behavior, which I really didn't want to do anyway.
Hmm.
But speak to, not discounting small beginnings, not discounting even those movement snacks, and just how important consistency really is, and what you do really does matter.
Yeah. Consistency is very important. One, like it helps you to create habits, right? It kind of and a habit is so important because um even when you kind of fall off or step away, when you have that habit, it's something that's like, oh, something don't feel right.
Yes, that
I'm
happens.
not moving or I haven't been moving. So consistency is essential to creating like systems and like in your body. So what that means is like um if you begin to move and then you stop, you honestly aren't starting all the way over. You are just starting from where you pause. You can think about it as a pause. So, society will tell us to go, go, go. And if we stop, then it's like, oh, look at you. You are a failure. You can't do things, you know. But if you give yourself grace and, set goals like, oh, I'm going to try to walk 2 days this week, or I'm going to try to walk 3 days this week, and continue to build on that. It kind of goes back to like those positive affirmations or the positive thoughts. It's kind of like depositing those positive feelings into your body. So when you stop it, it goes like, oh, what's happening here? Or you may feel more irritable, or you may feel more tired, and you're like, man, let me get back into what
Mhm.
I was doing, because I don't really like how I'm feeling, or I don't even like the signals that my body is giving me. We gotta get back on one accord. So consistency is very important, but I don't want people to think like you have to like just be a sprinter and jet off into it. Really take some time to like think about ways that you can be consistent. So I'm all about adding to our lives and not trying to like take away. So like think about where you are right now and think about the best way that you can add movement to your life. So if you're like, well, on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays, I work 12-hour days. That may not be the best day to be like, I'm going to start this new running routine, right? So it may be like, maybe Tuesday may be the best way for me to begin to start a movement practice. And I like to think of it as a practice, right? It's like something that you're going to continually try to work forward to. Just like you have like your spiritual practice, or you have like your for being a therapist, you had to get a lot of hours. So just thinking about it as like it still goes back to something that's habit forming, something that you do on a daily basis, and that if you reframe it as like, man, I got to go to the gym or I got to work, that you ain't gonna do it. But if you think about it as a way that you are practicing, mindful movement, or you're practicing, better heart health, or you are creating a movement practice so that you can play with your kids, reframing it in that way, I think makes it better to be more consistent, or easier to be consistent, versus just like the doctor said, I need to get in the gym 3 days a week, so let me go ahead and do it. Great. Let's be honest.
Right.
You're not going to do it. But if you kind of tie it into something that is important to you, being it longevity, your kids, whatever is important to you, or just finding ways to move your body that are joyful, that kind of helps to keep you consistent.
That's good. And some of these things you've even said to me from time to time. And, I consider you to be my physical therapist and, my personal trainer and all of that. Um,
Uh,
that's not my lane. But I will say this, even when you decide to start moving your body, Andrea says some things about, when it's connected to dread, like my doctor said I got to, or, when you try to take off too fast, right? It sets you up to not do what to meet the goal that you have in mind. And so what I learned personally for myself was, even if, you know, I miss a day, in the past, missing a day, I would have catastrophized that. I would have beat
mhm.
myself up. I would have
Yeah.
been in my feelings because, well, I'm a planner, right? And so
Hmm.
when
Hmm.
I don't follow the plan, then I feel a little off.
Yeah.
This go round, I'm doing
Hmm.
it in a healthier, more balanced way. And so even if I miss a day, to Andrea's point, I do realize it now.
Hmm.
I'll find myself thinking about it. Girl, you ain't worked out in X amount of time, or
Hmm.
I'll feel
Hmm.
a little desire to want to move my body in some way.
Yeah.
If I miss it, I don't beat myself up. And
Yeah.
so that's
Yeah.
a big thing too. Not beating yourself up is not the end of the
Definitely.
world. And
Yeah.
again, to another point Andrea made, habit, right? We've been so in the habit of not moving our body, right? Of
Hmm.
avoiding these things.
Yeah.
And that didn't happen overnight. And so now it's
Hmm.
about retraining, right?
Yeah.
Thinking a different way, retraining our body, retraining our mind. And so
Hmm.
you might miss a day, and that's
Yeah.
okay. The world
Yeah.
is still going to keep going, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
giving yourself grace in those moments, like
Hmm.
remembering that would be my 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 advice.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. That's really good. Yeah. That's really good because life happens, right? And so we have to be able to be gracious with ourselves when those things happen. Like we can't beat ourselves up. It's like we've all forgot to put on deodorant before we went to work, but that doesn't mean we continue to stop putting on deodorant. So it's like you
right.
just like, ooh, I hope they don't smell me today, and then we come back to putting on deodorant. So it's like you just give yourself grace for those moments when you didn't move, and then jump right back into it.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. So you have shared your story, and we know that, the plan, the goal was to be a physical therapist. And the
Hmm.
plan didn't go the way you saw it going. And you had to pivot. Okay.
Yeah.
We know that with the pivot, or I know with the pivot, you ended up on a path that still led you to physical fitness and training. And
Hmm.
in that, you found joy that led you to creating your baby FSC. So I
Yeah.
want you
Yeah.
to share with the people a little bit about FSC and how they can connect with you. I
Uh,
see my sister in the chat talking about I'll take that help. So you got a client, but tell the people how they can find you.
sure. So I am the owner of Formidable Strength Collective. And I help people come to body liberation through reclamation, affirmations, and movement. And what that means is that one, we want to reclaim our bodies, meaning we want to come back to our bodies, and then we want to be able to affirm ourselves, and then move and find ways that to move that bring us joy. So with Formidable Strength Collective, I come alongside people to help them do that through strength training. I love kettlebell, so that's usually my tool that I use. But it doesn't have to be your tool of choice. Maybe you just want to move your body. But yeah, I just enjoy seeing people get stronger. I enjoy seeing people feel their body and discover that they can lift hard, heavy things and they can do hard things. And I also like to see people finding ways to move their bodies that make them happy and bring them joy, and empowering folks to do that in whatever way looks best for them. Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Uh,
go ahead. Tell them how they can find you.
so I do have a website. It's formidablestrengthcollective.com. It's a long name, but we want to take up space. So even in long names, we want to take up space. And you are a formidable being. And yeah, we just want you to get stronger. So there, and then I'm also on Instagram at AS_Sutton. Child, I don't know my own Instagram handle. But yeah, I think that's that. And I am on Facebook as Andrea S. Sutton. I look younger and I have long hair there, but that is me there as well. But you can subscribe to like my email list on my website and then work with me there, and then we can kind of like figure out how we can go forward. I think
Wonderful.
that's good. Yeah.
That's good. And if can't find any of those things that she said, you can find me and I can
Hmm.
in touch
Yes.
for sure. Um, so I don't see any questions in the comment box. So I'm going to just thank you, Andrea, for joining me tonight to close out this
Hmm.
month of mental health awareness. It was a pleasure talking to you as always. And I'll just end with saying this mental health and physical health are two sides of the same coin, and
Yeah.
supporting one improves the other,
Hmm.
neglecting one can harm both. And
Yeah.
so I just encourage you to, take the tips that you heard from us tonight and apply them so that you can live a long, healthy, prosperous, thriving life. And
Hmm.
I hope that tonight was encouragement for you. I hope it brought some awareness and some transformation. And just thank you all for joining us tonight. Tim, if you would put up Andrea's Cash App. If something that Andrea said to you tonight
Oh, how did you get?
was don't worry about it. If you heard something tonight that, blessed you, that helped you in some way and you feel led to sow a seed, then please do so. Um, it is also our time to give for the ministry. And so the ways to give are on the screen. If you feel like our apostle has been a blessing to you, feel free to sow a seed into her as well. And just one quick announcement for the month of June, our enrichment study will be focusing on the ground. Okay, from the kingdom perspective, the slide is on the screen. So come back next week and join us in this enrichment study. You won't regret doing so. And some of the things that we'll cover and talk about will be dominion and ownership, transformation, reformation, and more. So come back next week to join us. Again, this is our finale of the Mental Health Awareness Month. We started this years ago with our elder Patrice Horton. We put in the work for many years on this together, and in this year she passed away, and so in her memory we are continuing to do this, continuing to keep the torch running because it is so important and necessary to continue having the conversation and breaking the stigma around mental health. So thank you all and have a wonderful night. See you next week.